After recognizing that his current strength was insufficient to reverse the situation, Luo Feng requested the Dan Tower's greatest treasure, the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence, which was worth 10 billion primordial crystals. As a vice building owner, he was entitled to purchase it for 6 billion primordial crystals. The Chongqing building owner refused immediate payment, explaining that if Yulan City fell, the treasure would be lost anyway and the primordial crystals would become meaningless. He handed the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence to Luo Feng and told him to settle the payment later if they survived. Luo Feng accepted the treasure without hesitation, immediately returned to his secluded cultivation chamber inside the Dan Tower, and began consuming it in an effort to achieve a breakthrough before the battle reached its conclusion. Luo Feng entered a secluded chamber in the Dan Tower while leaving his strongest avatar outside to guard him. Carrying the undying heart and palm world, after years of cultivation, he had accumulated abundant energy reserves. Knowing that consuming the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence required absolute peace, he carefully took out the treasure, although he knew it would force his soul to experience countless life and death trials and unbearable pain by increasing the speed of thought and comprehension to an extreme level. He decided to consume it because he refused to watch countless cultivators die while waiting for a natural breakthrough. After swallowing the purple gold liquid, his soul instantly absorbed it, causing his thinking speed to increase by 3,000 times while placing an enormous burden on his soul. Luo Feng focused entirely on comprehending the life and death Dao, hoping to reach the late-stage Divine Emperor as quickly as possible. Although he knew the war might end within a single day and no treasure could guarantee such a rapid breakthrough. At the same time, his avatar in the Land of Origin continued using the Eye of Life and Death to study the primordial bloodline and perfect the life and death Dao. Meanwhile, Yulan City's defenders coordinated hundreds of formations to resist the invading low-level primordial life army. Palace Master Yuan Shang explained that exposing all the hidden infiltrators had forced the enemy to launch its attack before gathering its full strength. Reducing the danger from the external army, he assigned Master Guy Dao and 92 elders to eliminate the infiltrators while the remaining defenders maintained the city's outer defenses. Master Guy Dao led the star array, summoning brilliant stars that rained down upon the enemy leaders. The king personally blocked several stars using Wei Yong Palace Master's powerful body. But the overwhelming bombardment injured all the leaders and killed one of them. Realizing the city's external defenses had been weakened because so many elders were operating the star array, the king ordered every hidden infiltrator throughout Yulan City to begin the planned assassinations. Members of the Enchanting Heartworm clan, Soul-Devouring Snake clan, and core members from the 35 branches of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm all mobilized, including 355 late-stage Divine Emperor cultivators possessing thousands of bodies and numerous leader avatars. The infiltrators split into elite assassination squads led by 10 leader avatars and decoy squads consisting of weaker members. Unable to distinguish between them, Yuan Shang Palace Master ordered Master Guy Dao to strike every squad simultaneously. Tens of thousands of stars descended across the city, destroying nearly all the decoy squads within 2 waves while only 39 elite squads survived. Immediately afterward, Master Guy Dao suddenly declared that he was leaving. He explained that the super limit level infiltrator and more than 20 leader level true bodies were already approaching his cave mansion. That he had devoted his life to refining artifacts in Yulan City without seeking resources or benefits, and therefore had no obligation to sacrifice himself. He insisted that the countless weapon secret treasures he had forged could not be lost. Despite the desperate protests of the elders, he boarded a ship carrying all his treasures, passed through the city's defensive formation as a hallmaster, escaped Yulan City, and used an expensive escape treasure purchased from the Dark Sacred Realm to instantly travel billions of kilometers away. The blue and white primordial life outside asked whether to pursue him, but the king refused because Guy Dao's escape made the invasion much easier. The king had already anticipated that Guy Dao valued his weapon secret treasures more than his avatars and would flee under sufficient pressure. With Guy Dao gone, the defenders lost a crucial hallmaster, greatly weakening both the city's defenses and formation capabilities. The king then prepared to target Yuan Shang Palace Master next. Inside the city, Yuan Shang Palace Master and more than 300 elders were filled with despair. One hall master had already died. Another had abandoned the city. And Yuan Shang himself was barely able to operate formations because he had to constantly resist the pollution within his soul, leaving him completely incapable of confronting a super-limit level low-level primordial life directly. Yuan Shang Palace Master, who had mastered 2 half-primordial level paths and endured endless corruption without yielding, informed the more than 300 elders that Yulan city had been completely surrounded by a massive low-level primordial life army. He admitted that only a handful of cultivators could escape, while he himself could not. The elders understood that escape was nearly impossible. Master Guy Dao had previously spent enormous wealth on escape treasures because he believed the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm was safer than the Dark Sacred Realm and wanted to protect his weapon refining base and countless weapon secret treasures. But the other elders possessed no such guarantees. Since escape was hopeless, Yuan Shang Palace Master ordered everyone to defend the city until reinforcements arrived. He revealed that the Dark Sacred Realm had already dispatched a cultivator squad after learning that a super-limit level enchanting heartworm had appeared. The squad consisted of 3 cultivators, each no weaker than Yuan Shang Palace Master at his peak, but they still needed more than 1 day to arrive after traveling through the teleportation lakes. Yuan Shang Palace Master ordered the 92 elders controlling the star array to continue intercepting the lurker teams, while the remaining elders were instructed to scatter their avatars throughout the realm and immediately self-destruct any avatar that was discovered in order to delay the enemy as much as possible. Although Master Guy Dao had refused such risky tactics earlier, every remaining elder now accepted that sacrificing avatars was necessary to buy time. After Master Guy Dao's departure, the star array lost 1/3 of its strength, but by concentrating its power on only 3 of the 39 elite lurker squads, it inflicted casualties upon them. The lurkers complained that the elders immediately dissolved discovered avatars and continued escaping through other avatars, while the overwhelming star array destroyed many of their true bodies. Only one success was reported when Elder Chao Ji's avatars were completely eliminated. The king expected such resistance and led 30-leader-level true bodies to Yuan Shang Palace Master's cave mansion. They found only Yuan Shang Palace Master's smiling avatar, which dissolved before them, although none of his avatars could be detected anywhere in Yulan city. The star array remained fully operational, proving that he was still alive. Yuan Shang Palace Master revealed through his voice that he had long understood he was Yulan city's greatest weakness and had prepared accordingly. He challenged the king to find him, but the king ignored the provocation and ordered the next stage of the invasion. He personally hunted the elders while the 30 leaders split into 5 squads to attack elder cave mansions. Believing that every dead elder would weaken the star array, Elder Ku Yuan was killed instantly before he could react because he possessed no defensive secret treasure in Yulan city, causing all of his avatars across the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm to disappear forever. Hidden inside an ordinary cave mansion in the outer city district, Yuan Shang Palace Master concealed himself completely using an extremely expensive secret treasure that erased every trace of his light, aura, causality, and existence. Even Luo Feng's biomimetic destruction eye could not locate him. Through the star array, he observed that although the array continued inflicting losses upon ordinary lurkers, the king and the leader-level enemies remained nearly impossible to eliminate. He realized that the elders were dying too quickly and doubted they could survive even half a day, let alone the more than 1 day required for reinforcements to arrive. Meanwhile, inside the Dan Tower, Luo Feng remained in secluded cultivation while his strongest avatar guarded him. The Chongqing building owner urgently arrived and explained that, as one of Yulan city's elders, he had become a target and an elite lurker squad was already approaching the Dan Tower. He entrusted Luo Feng with a bracelet containing all of the Dan Tower's treasures, worth approximately 27 billion primordial crystals, hoping Luo Feng could preserve them because he was not an elder and therefore less likely to become a priority target. Luo Feng accepted the responsibility but emphasized that he could only promise to do his best and that the payment involving the 100 Tribulations heart essence would still need to be settled afterward. As the Chongqing building owner fled into the sky, an elite lurker squad composed of 8 leader-level avatars, 6 core lineage true bodies, and 59 core lineage avatars pursued him. A gigantic illusory snake unleashed a terrifying roar that briefly disrupted his movement. Suddenly, a cold snort echoed across the battlefield as an immense blood-colored tidal wave engulfed the Dan Tower area. instantly annihilating every member of the elite lurker squad, including all true bodies and avatars, without leaving a single survivor. The Chongqing building owner was stunned by the unbelievable display. Hidden within his secret refuge, Yuan Shang Palace Master also witnessed the event and immediately recognized its significance. He understood that late-stage Divine Emperor-level enchanting heartworms and soul-devouring snakes possessed extraordinary vitality. And only fewer than 20 cultivators in the entire city could destroy such beings with one strike. Instantly eliminating an entire elite squad was something previously possible only for Wei Yong Palace Master or Master Guy Dao. Since Master Guy Dao had fled and Wei Yong Palace Master had already fallen after resisting the king, Yuan Shang Palace Master immediately concluded that Luo Feng had reached the strength of a half-primordial level enlightened one and quickly sent him a transmission asking whether he had truly broken through to that realm. Luo Feng stated that his current strength was roughly equal to Wei Yong Palace Master and Master Guy Dao, though almost all of his attention remained focused on comprehending the life and death Dao. Thanks to the 100 Tribulations heart essence, his comprehension and mental processing speed had increased dramatically, allowing him to divide his thoughts into billions of streams while handling battles and conversations with almost no effect on his cultivation. Yuan Shang Palace Master was delighted by Luo Feng's strength, but Luo Feng believed it was still insufficient to change the overall situation. Yuan Shang Palace Master revealed that he had already requested reinforcements from the Dark Sacred Realm, and a cultivator team would arrive in a little more than one day. Their only objective was to hold Yulan City until those reinforcements arrived. Because Nine Rivers' sacred realm was under attack by the low-level primordial life army, it could not provide support. And although two experts who had mastered the two half-primordial level paths existed, only their avatars were present while their most powerful secret treasures remained in the dark sacred realm, preventing them from entering Yulan City. Yuan Shang Palace Master then asked Luo Feng to accept the city builder authority, explaining that although he had founded Yulan City, he had never considered himself its true city lord because of his severe contamination and had always been searching for a worthy successor. He believed Luo Feng's extraordinary talent, demonstrated after only a little more than 2,500 eras in Nine Rivers' sacred realm, made him the ideal candidate. Luo Feng hesitated because he had not yet clearly surpassed Wei Yong Palace Master and Master Guy Dao, and Wei Yong Palace Master's avatar would likely return after the war. Yuan Shang Palace Master insisted that survival came first and there was no time to hesitate. Confident that he would soon surpass every rival and recognizing that becoming city builder would give him greater authority and access to the city's defensive resources during this critical battle, Luo Feng accepted the position. Yuan Shang Palace Master instructed him to secretly send an avatar to a hidden location in the outer city district, where he would transfer the city building seal. He warned that absolutely no third party could discover Luo Feng's new identity, because the low-level primordial life lurkers would immediately make him their primary target. Luo Feng agreed, knowing he was not yet strong enough to withstand a direct assault from King and the other true body leaders. Luo Feng then reorganized his avatars. His strongest avatar retrieved the void netherworld pupil ship from the quiet room and continued cultivating inside it after consuming the 100 Tribulations heart essence. While another ordinary avatar, possessing energy reserves 100 times greater than a perfect divine body and strengthened by the Dan Tower formation, remained behind to guard the quiet room. Although Luo Feng wished to devote himself entirely to comprehending the life and death Dao, he had to divide part of his attention to defending Yulan City because its fall would drastically shorten the time available for his breakthrough. Even so, the 100 Tribulations heart essence allowed his Dao comprehension to continue improving at an extraordinary pace. Meanwhile, one of the surviving true body leaders reported to King that an elite lurker squad pursuing Chongqing building owner had entered Dan Tower and been completely annihilated by Luo Feng's Blood Sea formation. King immediately identified Luo Feng as the attacker and rejected the suggestion of targeting him. He judged Luo Feng's strength to be comparable to the Insect Nest Master and Shadow Tower owner, possibly even approaching the three Hall Masters while inside Dan Tower, making him extremely difficult to eliminate because of his many avatars and powerful formations. King ordered all lurker forces to ignore Luo Feng and instead concentrate on killing weaker elders. Since each elder's death weakened Yulan City's defensive system and eliminating one ordinary elder required far less effort than trying to kill Luo Feng. Throughout Yulan City, the elders monitoring the city's defensive system celebrated Luo Feng's destruction of the elite lurker squad. They praised his strength, believing it had reached the level of Wei Yong Palace Master and Master Guy Dao, and some argued he should immediately become a Hall Master. Others pointed out that his overwhelming performance relied heavily on Dan Tower's formations and might not be repeatable elsewhere. Yuan Shang Palace Master interrupted the discussion, explaining that because he was constantly hiding from lurker squads, he could not reach Elder Hall to unlock its defenses or conduct the Elder and Hall Master trials required for official appointments. The elders urged him to remain hidden at all costs because if he were discovered and killed, Yulan City's defensive system would weaken even further, making total defeat inevitable. Across the city, elder teams cooperated with other elder-level experts who had never officially become elders, using Yulan City's defensive systems to track and ambush the highly mobile lurker squads. Although the lurkers repeatedly escaped through their superior speed, one elite squad eventually entered a carefully prepared trap. Hidden formations released a deadly poison mist while a gigantic tree puppet controlled by Elder Xingyi suddenly awakened. Because the puppet contained no life force, the lurkers had failed to detect it, combined with the poison formation and attacks from countless trees and plants. The ambush completely exterminated the elite lurker squad within moments. The elders celebrated again, noting that only Luo Feng and Elder Xingyi had succeeded in wiping out entire elite lurker squads. Since the lurkers usually avoided powerful opponents and focused on weaker elders, King learned of Elder Xingyi's success but concluded that fighting top-tier elders was inefficient. So he continued directing his efforts toward hunting weaker elders before they could destroy their avatars themselves. Guided by Yuan Shang Palace Master's instructions, Luo Feng's strongest avatar carefully traveled through the city while using the biomimetic destruction eye to avoid lurker squads. He eventually reached an ordinary-looking cave mansion, where he found no sign of life until Yuan Shang Palace Master suddenly emerged from the void and greeted him, ready to transfer the city building seal. Luo Feng was shocked that Yuan Shang Palace Master had approached him unnoticed despite Luo Feng's advanced perception techniques. Yuan Shang Palace Master explained that he had used a special treasure to conceal himself from both Luo Feng and the super-limit level enchanting heartworm. He warned that the situation had become critical because the super-limit level enchanting heartworm and its leader-level followers were continuously assassinating the elders inside Yulan City. He immediately handed Luo Feng the city building seal and urged him to refine it without delay. Luo Feng understood the enormous value of the seal because building a city required at least 2 million battle merit points, equivalent to about 20 billion primordial crystals at the lowest exchange value. And such merit was extremely difficult to obtain. A city builder normally never entrusted the city building seal to another cultivator. After Yuan Shang Palace Master insisted that every moment of hesitation meant another elder's death and the possible destruction of Yulan City, Luo Feng accepted the seal and began refining it. While Luo Feng refined the seal, Yuan Shang Palace Master explained that after reaching the peak of the Dark Sacred Realm he had accumulated immense battle merit and treasures. But once his soul became polluted, his only goal was to free his spiritual will from the braided cage. He had established Yulan City hoping that a different cultivation path would help resist the pollution. But maintaining the city's formation had become increasingly exhausting as the corruption deepened. Even so, he had grown attached to Yulan City, believing Luo Feng was a more suitable protector. He officially passed the responsibility to him while deciding to continue controlling the city's main formation until the current battle ended before dedicating himself entirely to resisting the pollution. Luo Feng encouraged him, saying that as long as one remained alive, there was still hope. After successfully refining the city building seal, Luo Feng sensed that he could draw upon the immense energy stored within Yulan City. Yuan Shang Palace Master explained that the city lord, Palace Master, and elders could all control the city's power, but in different proportions, because almost all of his heart force was devoted to suppressing the pollution. He could barely maintain the city's defenses and could not effectively wield its energy. Luo Feng immediately began familiarizing himself with the seal while simultaneously preparing his own formation using only a small portion of his mind. Thanks to the enhanced mental capacity provided by the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence, Upon refining the seal, Luo Feng completely merged with Yulan City. He discovered that the city itself was an enormous secret treasure filled with countless intricate formations. The star array was one of the few formations available to the elders. The city constantly absorbed limitless energy from heaven and earth, supplying both its defensive systems and the cultivators living inside. As city lord, Luo Feng could command 1/10 of the city's total energy, although doing so demanded a sufficiently high realm and tremendous heart force. A palace master could command at most 1,000, while an elder could command only 1/10,000. Luo Feng realized that every elder managed a separate defensive formation and that hundreds of these formations worked together flawlessly. The city's core contained 1,000 independent blank formation layers, allowing the city lord, palace master, and every elder to inscribe their own formations without interference or additional materials. Once completed, the city itself empowered each formation, allowing its creator to operate it with perfect efficiency. Drawing upon his profound understanding of the life and death Dao, along with the Daos of life and destruction, Luo Feng rapidly constructed an exceptionally powerful life and death formation. Through his city lord authority, he observed every existing formation in the city and concluded that Yuan Shang Palace Master's formation remained the strongest because he had mastered 2.5 primordial level paths, surpassing both Wei Yang Palace Master and Master Guy Dao. However, Yuan Shang Palace Master could no longer unleash its full power because even operating a small portion required more heart force than he could spare. As a result, Wei Yang Palace Master had effectively become the strongest divine emperor defending the city. Yuan Shang Palace Master admitted that his soul pollution had reached such a severe level that even distant leader-level mind-type primordial life forms could likely sense it. He felt as though he was constantly drowning under the pollution, barely maintaining consciousness. His weakness had encouraged Wei Yang Palace Master to consider seizing the city builder authority and had also caused the newly emerged super limit level enchanting heartworm to choose Yulan City as the easiest target. Reflecting on the hundreds of millions of cultivators living within the city, Yuan Shang Palace Master believed Luo Feng's rapid rise made him a far more suitable city lord. He was haunted by the image of the golden-scaled high-level primordial life whose breakthrough had originally polluted his soul. Silently recognizing the overwhelming gap between divine emperors and true high-level primordial life forms. Even countless divine emperors would be effortlessly crushed by a single unrestricted high-level primordial life. Although imprisoned high-level primordial life forms within the dark sacred realm could be safely studied because they could neither fight nor spread their pollution. Using his remaining palace master authority, Yuan Shang Palace Master suddenly detected another army of low-level primordial life forms advancing toward the south gate. The newly arrived forces launched additional combined attacks that greatly increased the pressure on Yulan City's defenses. Outside the city, the three existing king-level leaders welcomed the arrival of another king named Yuan Yan, a colossal black serpentine being resembling a burning mountain range covered in flames. Yuan Yan explained that he had hurried to reinforce the assault after learning the attack had begun early. Although the other kings would arrive later, the kings agreed that shadows enchanting heartworms and soul-devouring snakes were steadily assassinating the elders inside the city, causing Yulan City's resistance to weaken. They believed the city would soon fall and eagerly anticipated slaughtering its cultivators to gain evolution and freedom. The four kings and their vast armies radiated overwhelming killing intent while waiting for the city's defenses to collapse. Inside the city, Yuan Shang Palace Master calculated that another king and another army had dramatically increased the pressure. Already 35 elders had been killed, weakening the defensive formations and allowing the external assaults to become even stronger. Although Luo Feng's arrival strengthened the defenses, the new enemy army required dozens of elder formations to contain it. Completely offsetting his contribution, teams of surviving elders and elder-level experts continued hunting the infiltrating enemies inside the city. But they could only slow the worsening situation. Yuan Shang Palace Master estimated that Yulan City could not survive another half-day despite every effort. Luo Feng also sensed the rapidly deteriorating conditions while constructing his formation. At last, he completed the inscription of an extraordinarily complex life and death array into one of the core formation layers of Yulan City. Luo Feng informed Yuan Shang Palace Master that the new formation had been completed and could be activated whenever necessary. Yuan Shang Palace Master immediately established two priorities. Luo Feng was to continue acting like every other elder avatar by hunting the hidden lurkers inside the city, because reducing their numbers would directly increase Yulan City's survival time. At the same time, Luo Feng's role as the creator and controller of the formation had to remain completely hidden. If the enemy discovered the truth, every leader-level primordial life would focus on killing him. Therefore, Yuan Shang Palace Master decided to claim ownership of the formation himself whenever it was used. Luo Feng accepted the arrangement, understanding that even with the city's power supporting him, he would have little chance of surviving if the super limit level enchanting heartworm and the other leader true bodies attacked him together. Before Luo Feng departed, Yuan Shang Palace Master formally entrusted him with the authority of City Lord, allowing him to freely direct the city's formations and energy while Yuan Shang Palace Master coordinated the city's defenders. After Luo Feng left, Yuan Shang Palace Master quietly watched the battlefield and accepted that everything now depended on fate. Judging from the arrival of the enemy reinforcements outside the city, he estimated Yulan City could survive only about half a day if nothing changed. Using the city building seal after refining it, Luo Feng gained complete awareness of the city's internal structure. Every district, every formation node, and every hidden lurker became visible to him. This perfect awareness allowed him to launch precise attacks without searching for targets. He knew his life and death array lacked the overwhelming strength of the former star array. So instead of spreading its power across many enemies, he concentrated everything on eliminating one elite squad at a time. The first target was an elite lurker team moving within the city. Black and cyan clouds suddenly gathered directly above them, leaving almost no time to escape. The lurkers immediately recognized that they had been locked onto by a city formation and united all of their remaining strength. 7 leader avatars coordinated with 5 core member true bodies and dozens of core member avatars, using layered illusion techniques to weaken the incoming attacks. Their resistance proved useless. The formation continuously released devastating beams of destructive light that overwhelmed every defensive layer. Most members disappeared in the first barrage, while the few survivors were destroyed by the following attacks. Within only a short time, the entire elite squad had ceased to exist. The speed of the destruction shocked both the defenders and the invaders. Although the new formation possessed only around half the power of the former star array, it focused every attack onto a single location instead of dividing its strength across multiple battlefields. Because of this concentration, any elite squad that became its target was almost guaranteed to be wiped out. The elders immediately noticed the appearance of the unfamiliar black and cyan formation. Since everyone believed the star array had already been dismantled to reinforce the city's outer defenses, they wondered where this new source of power had come from. Yuan Shang Palace Master quickly answered their doubts by claiming that he had temporarily suppressed his injuries and was personally operating another formation. His explanation instantly restored the defenders' confidence. They knew his reputation from the past, when he had stood far above Palace Master Wei Yang in strength and had even mastered 2.5 primordial level paths. Remembering his former glory, the elders believed that if he could still unleash even a fraction of his original power, Yulan City might survive. In reality, Yuan Shang Palace Master knew the truth was completely different. His injuries were beyond recovery, and merely remaining conscious required constant effort. He could not actually participate in battle and could only allow everyone to continue believing the lie. Meanwhile, Luo Feng continued moving through the core district. Whenever lurker squads detected him, they immediately abandoned their missions and escaped instead of attempting to fight. Luo Feng realized that these mind-type primordial lives possessed superior mobility, making direct pursuit inefficient. The formations, however, ignored distance and could strike any location inside the city almost instantly. Using the city's energy reserve, he activated the life and death array again and destroyed another elite lurker squad before it could retreat. Once more, every elder believed Yuan Shang Palace Master had achieved the victory, further strengthening their morale. While patrolling, Luo Feng met an elder patrol team composed of both elder avatars and powerful cultivators with elder-level combat ability. Seeing Luo Feng hunting independently, they finally understood why he had chosen to operate alone instead of joining a larger formation. During their brief conversation, everyone praised Yuan Shang Palace Master's unexpected return to battle, believing his strength had become the city's greatest hope. After exchanging information, the patrol resumed protecting the core district, where many important elders resided. Observing the overall battlefield, Luo Feng concluded that his own combat strength still had clear limitations. His formation could easily eliminate ordinary elite squads, but leader true bodies remained beyond its capabilities. Those enemies possessed divine emperor perfection cultivation and extraordinary resilience. The former star array had enough destructive power to threaten them directly, whereas the life and death array could only injure them unless multiple attacks accumulated over time. On the enemy side, reports quickly reached the king. Nearly two-thirds of the elite lurker forces had already been destroyed, leaving only a small number of surviving teams. Most surviving members no longer dared to continue their missions because every activation of the Black and Cyan formation resulted in another squad disappearing. Fear spread rapidly through the infiltrators, and the leaders warned that morale was approaching total collapse. The king found the situation difficult to understand. Yulan city was already enduring enormous pressure from Yuan Yan's massive army outside its walls. So logically it should not have possessed enough spare power to support another large-scale formation inside the city. Recognizing that continuing the infiltration would only waste forces, the king ordered every remaining elite squad to abandon offensive operations immediately. Instead of continuing to attack, they scattered throughout the city and concealed themselves inside cave mansions by possessing weaker cultivators, avatars, or true bodies. Protected by the cave mansion's defensive formations, they could no longer be accurately located by the city's defenders. Once the lurkers disappeared, Yuan Shang Palace Master changed the defenders' strategy. Rather than searching every cave mansion, he ordered everyone to ignore the hidden enemies completely. Time had become the most valuable resource. As long as Yulan City continued standing, the defenders were moving closer to success. Elder teams therefore reorganized into larger defensive groups designed specifically to survive attacks from the super limit level enchanting heartworm. Only a handful of exceptionally confident experts, including Luo Feng and Elder Xingyi, continued operating independently. The king then personally entered the battle. Disguised as Palace Master Wei Yang, he used his terrifying speed to appear directly inside an elder formation without warning. Before anyone could react, he instantly destroyed two elder avatars and disappeared again. His movement speed made ordinary interception impossible, perfectly demonstrating the advantage of a super limit existence. However, despite seeing both Luo Feng and Elder Xingyi, he deliberately chose not to attack them. Elder Xingyi would require too much effort to eliminate, while Luo Feng possessed powerful willpower secret techniques and soul-protecting treasures, making him a poor target. Instead, the king focused on eliminating ordinary elders as efficiently as possible. His strategy was simple. He did not need to destroy every defender individually. If enough elders were eliminated and the city's overall defensive strength dropped below a critical threshold, Yulan City itself would inevitably collapse.